This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name is Jay Agner. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Brad Gardner. He's the founder and CTO of Seven Hill Technology and the only guy who had more steps than me in Durham. Hello. How you doing, Brad?
You're pretty good. Yourself?
I'm good. I feel like I spent a lot of time with you. It was great. We got some quality time in Durham, which was beautiful, by the way. Lots of history. And where did we meet first? It was Duke University. Was it Duke? Was that where we were at? Duke. Yeah. We got the Cathedral 5-cent tour, and it was fantastic. So
we met at the ball game beforehand.
That's right. That night. See, it was a long drive. I'm not going to get into the drive, though. But so tell me, Brad, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up? And did that have an impact on you being an entrepreneur?
A little bit, yeah. So I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I still am, kind of a lifer here. And entrepreneurship is in my family a little bit. My grandpa owned a business that did well for them, and it's always been on my radar. So the combination of doing something in technology and owning a business is kind of where I was always pointed.
What type of business did your grandfather have?
I had an appliance repair business. It was like a warranty dealer for GE in the 70s, 80s, and did well. He sold out of it in the 90s.
Okay. Did you remember any of it as like a kid of him like being a business owner guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
We're playing around their shop and the people that work there and all of that. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, so how long after that did you start your own thing?
Quite a while. So we started Seven Hills Technology in 2015. So That's been a little over 10 years now.
And where did that come from? Was it just you? Did you have any co-founders? What's the story?
Yeah, I founded it and with a co-founder who I had previously hired and worked with at the time. And then fast forward to 2020, we ended up kind of shaking up the leadership of the company, and we had already brought on a third partner. And so now there's two of us now. We were briefly three for a while.
Okay. Where did the idea come from? What why did you do? What were you doing beforehand? How did you kind of jump out and start this thing?
Yeah, so my background now is 20 years in consulting, but I guess at the time it was about 10 years in consulting at the time. Everybody seems to have a good founder story, and I lacked that. For me, it really just seemed like a good idea at the time. I'm impulsive. I had a job with a former client, and I had another former client who wanted me to do work. I'm like, well, I can have a job or I can have two clients. So I quit my job and told them that they could be a client, and then I had two clients.
That's a great story. I think the romanticized founder story is kind of overplayed at this point. I think a lot of people do what you did. That's what I did. I just kind of, you went for it. So I think that's that's honestly what more people should do. I think, is you believe in something and you take a swing. So how did the first engagements go?
Pretty well, because it was doing the same work I was doing day by day anyways. Sure. So just a different payment model. It's like,
sure,
now I'm sending you an invoice instead of you putting me on payroll. And then we had to learn how to do that for two clients at the same time. We did it part-time for 6 months and then jumped in full-time. And that was that. It was pretty easy transition. I was just doing the same thing I was always doing. And starting off, it's pretty easy when you're doing software consulting because you're just continuing to do the same thing. None of the business challenges had really hit yet.
How did you guys parlay that relationship? How did you switch from from where you were to kind of being a new vendor with those clients? Was it a pretty easy transition?
It was pretty easy. We gave him a really good deal. I think that was probably what made it easy. Is I took my salary and I converted it and added back the tax burden to it, and then converted that to an hourly rate. So it's like, here's your rate. You're paying me exactly what you were paying me otherwise, and you don't have to cover my insurance anymore. So they got a deal, and then we went finding my own insurance, and that was that.
So what did you do back then compared to what you do now as far as a product or service offering?
Wow, a lot's actually changed in the 10 years. So at that time, it was me just writing software for clients. And so now we've branched into a whole lot of, I call it higher level consulting. Mm-hmm. We've launched a bunch of what we call productized services to how we go to market. I've got the sales guy now. We've got a bigger team. So I do a lot more oversight, process engineering, things like that for the company now, and a lot less client work.
Mm-hmm. How did you guys survive the great kind of axing of generic custom software development shops in the 21, 22, 23 time frame where it seemed like they all just started to get eaten alive if they didn't focus on something very specific, which a lot of them tried to do, or they picked 3 verticals and they weren't really great at any of them. A lot of those, had to lay off 75% of their staff for the last, couple of years. How did you guys survive that time frame?
Good question. I'm really stubborn about being a generalist, and because and this is an internal conflict that we have with our sales and marketing and my current business partner is like, do we niche down? Do we focus on something, on a specific industry, on a specific expertise? And I'm kind of the opposite. Like, I don't see myself personally ever fitting into that mold.
Right.
And I think most businesses think they're unique and they're not. And you end up doing the same thing. Like, the same kind of work that we do for one business generally transfers pretty well to a different type of business in a different industry. There's a little bit of an uphill climb to like learn the lingo and learn how to talk and learn the things that are important to them. But when you're building business software, you're building the same kinds of things. So it's like building inventory management systems. You're building like integrations with accounting systems. It's kind of that every business has those same things.
Right.
We typically don't do as much work at the like bleeding edge, like industry defining kind of work.
Right.
It's like we're focused a lot more on the operational software that keeps you like lean and mean and operating well.
Well, I mean, has that been commoditized at all recently? The operational stuff, the less creative stuff?
Like, that to me, that's with AI and how everything is easier to build now. What I'm really enjoying is seeing companies enter the market that wouldn't have gotten in the market before, where like, you know what, custom software isn't really for us. There's an off-the-shelf solution that gets us 80% of the way there, and that's good enough, because going fully custom is like total cost of ownership is hard, building it is hard. And now that math has changed. So now we're the ones like picking up those kind of companies saying, hey, we can take that thing you're paying, a big ticket for monthly, and we can rebuild it what you want for a one-time cost, and then switch into a really low like support mode that's significantly cheaper than what we were paying before. And we can do it extremely fast, and seeing a lot more traction in that kind of space.
Now, the only question I always have there is like, if it's slowly becoming more commoditized, does that eventually become a race to the bottom? That sort of model, like the more and more people able to do that for cheaper, and just keeps the cost just keeps going down. Is that a chase down, or is it like level out at some point?
I think in some areas it's absolutely a race to the bottom if you're looking kind of like at the edges of things. But I think for more operating towards the center of the bell curve, like you've got a bunch of business owners or like department heads who have budget authority and things like that they just want a problem solved. And that's why they sign up for SaaS software. That's why they have something custom built. The idea that we see online currently of like, well, if it's that easy to build, then everybody's just build their own software. Right? They can just install code and just build software. And it's true, but it's going to be a bad experience. And so to me, you're still like, you're solving a problem for money, and that has value. And I don't think that changed materially. Like the window of like project and ticket sizes that we're operating in has changed. Like we're doing smaller projects for smaller companies. We're doing more of them.
Right.
And value is still there. Because like if you're a moderately sized regional like construction company, you don't want to hire a software developer because you don't have enough to keep the full-time developer busy. That's a big cost. You don't want to hire a contracting company necessarily, or you don't want to go to a big expensive SaaS company that's going to charge you based on revenue, especially in construction where like revenue is like inflated because it's all material cost. But instead, you go to a company like us and like we can help you operationalize your software, stick around for a little bit of support. Like it's a much better value play in that space.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, and what about implementation of those AI systems? Like I know everybody, wanted to just add AI generally to their platform or whatever when it first, became the hot ticket. But what is that translating to today? Like, what are real products that are like kind of starting to shake out as opposed to, everybody? Or did you see a bunch of asks still for that? Like, hey, we just need like a chatbot that is AI for us right now. Like, what level of like actual AI implementation are you getting requests from the general kind of masses right now?
Interestingly, it's about what you'd expect, but in different ways. So I'm seeing a lot more people who are like paying attention to AI, but for doing more in the like traditional machine learning space,
Mm.
where because things like ChatGPT made everything kind of ubiquitous, where like everybody has an AI subscription, everybody has to talk to a chatbot, and like most of my clients have like a project in one of these where it has their entire like company charter, and they're helping it to help using it to help run their company, and they're like, this is amazing, it's just text generation. But are like, well, can we use AI to do this or that or that? I'm like, well, yeah, we actually could have done that 5 years ago, but
Right.
you didn't understand it then,
Right.
because machine learning and working with like neural networks and things like that was been not really approachable to the layperson. But now they think they have this magic AI that can do all these things. We're like, well, sure, we can do exactly what you're looking for, but it's not ChatGPT doing it.
Right.
We're going to train a model to do these things now, because now you understand like the application. So we're seeing an uptick in that, which I think is really fascinating.
It is really interesting, and it's, hitting it's like trying to find a nail because you got a hammer, it's like I see that all, especially even with agency owners, right, that are like they're trying to build their own products or doing all these things. And I was just talking to a couple of them earlier, and I was like, it's maybe the ultimate trap for ADHD people. Like, you can do anything that you've ever wanted to do at maybe
Really,
80%, and it's like that's an ADHD person if you wrote it down on paper, right? It's like do everything, do a million things, but get it done to 80% and then wander off and do the next thing. That's kind of what it feels like we're all subscribing to a lot of right now. We're going to do too much at the same time. But so what about the price? We talked about that at the conference. I am curious, like, as an agency that's passing through this stuff, like what does happen? Like if it's, we talked about a crazy number. I think it was like 1,000 times what it was, now, or 100 times what it was. But I mean, what is the future of that pass through, do you think, if it just continues to climb and it is 10 to 20 to 30 times in the next year or two?
Yeah, the pricing is a moving target. So with the rapid efficiency gain for people who are confident with AI, it changes our pricing model, where we're looking at either higher time and materials rates or pushing more towards fixed bid and retainer models. And that's one thing, that's one way to kind of like help push that cost through a little bit, because there's a cost for us to use the AI, but on a lot of projects, it's so far, because it's so heavily subsidized, it's been relatively immaterial. But as that picture changes, like it's just going to be a moving target, where I think there's a lot of pressure for them to stop subsidizing as much, but also if they do that, it threatens their business model, because people are using the token counts that they are because it's subsidized.
Right.
And if that tanks their usage, how's that impact like investors, things like that? So there's competing priorities there, and I'm hopeful that local models continue to become good enough where we can install a local model here that's as good as, like, call it Opus 4.6, which we can be extremely productive on.
Sure.
And we're getting close with like some of the Quen models are there or close to it. And so, fast forward 6 months, we might be installing a really competent local model on a server in our office and cutting our Claude Code usage way down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we saw, again, at the conference, we're still kind of doing AI the dumbest way possible. We're just brute forcing this thing. We're burning down the world, like, to get 1% more, because we have to iterate so many times. And it's like, obviously there's the efficiency gains just seem to be almost infinite when you look at how ridiculous the problem is that we're facing, because they're doing it just about the worst way. I mean, it's the way to do it because it works, but like, it's a wild way when we've got to get a little glance under the hood, like, oh, this is actually not.
That's when they algebra matrix math at insane scale in a big loop. It can be computationally difficult, and so GPUs are suited for it. But like, I think there's some cool innovation there. You look at Google's like TPUs, things like that are looking at really higher efficiency, and that helps the power draw, things like that. But even the way that they've structured some of the models, where like to really address different levels of computation, like even playing with like Quen, there's install a bunch of different versions of the models that have varying capabilities, but also varying computational loads.
Sure. Yeah.
I think there's a future where people can really pick and choose the things that have the right load profiles that they need. And helps to solve some of these challenges, because my Duke Energy bill has gone through the roof because there's data centers popping up near me, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, no, it does feel like that's the way we're moving. And it also feels like one of those things that the industry has been established. So now, as the, titans begin to be overpriced or whatever, the next crop will come up and it'll be cheaper for a while, and then we'll just keep looping forever, right? It's just like you just keep getting the one that's good enough for now, which it seems to be. But I like the local model idea, and I think if you get to Opus 4647, like we think that's probably good enough for right now.
Well, the economists would tell you that you can't escape supply and demand. So you kind of want to right, and like as you push that price curve up, like you're going to impact demand, and that's just the way it is right now. Supply is inflated because price is held down artificially.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to how it plays out, and I love how like everybody's going to be wrong. We're all going to be wrong. We have no idea. We have zero idea of what's actually going to happen, and they're just like, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, do you care about personal brand at all? Do you put any stock in it? Like, I know you're kind of like the face of the company, the CTO. You're like the brains of the operation when it comes to like the tech side and understanding all this technology. Do you put any stock to like kind of your own personal image outside of Seven Hills, or is it all just kind of the same stuff? How do you view personal brand?
It's always been one and the same to me, for better or for worse. I think I put less stock into it than I probably should. And it's something that's been a little bit more on my mind in recent years, is like I should probably invest a little bit more time and energy into that. It's not something that I've made time for yet.
Yeah. It seems like this is not true, but me either. It took me forever to even like understand what it was, but yeah, you're kind of tied to your business until you decide specifically not to be, it's like everybody sees you for that because that's your baby and that's who you are. All right. So if you had to start over today, kind of everything, lessons learned, et cetera, no infrastructure, just the knowledge that you have, what would be step one to starting Seven Hills over today?
Find a salesperson. We underinvested in sales from day one. In that,
what type of salesperson? A young person or an old person? Somebody experienced with a book of business? What describe the ideal salesperson?
For us, probably young, energetic. We've got a guy here now. His name's Charlie. He's fantastic.
I know Charlie. Charlie is great. Yeah, Charlie is fantastic. I can vouch for that. Okay.
Yep. He's absolutely great. And it's just somebody who needs to be able to be out there and be the things that I'm like. We talked about personal branding. I'm not the guy who just knows everybody and can remember everybody's names and remember who I talked to and work a room at a conference. And
sure,
there are all the things that our business spreads so incredibly by word of mouth and by networking and relationships. Like we're not having success picking up the phone and doing 100 dials a day, cold calling people. Like that's just not realistic in a service business. Maybe in a SaaS product company that works well, but that's not us.
Sure.
So we need people. We went years and we're kind of sitting around like, you know what? We've been in Cincinnati for years now and nobody knows who we are except for the people who work for us. And that's what Charlie's changed for us. Now I go to an event and I tell him who I'm with. I'm like, oh, I know Charlie.
That's it. Like,
that's success. He doesn't have to close every deal or anything like that, but he has to get me to the table more often.
I love that. I mean, I tell this story all the time. There's a guy that lives in Rochester, New York, and his name's Ben Albert. And he said, I wanted to be the business connections guy of Rochester, New York. And I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh,
and then he sat with me for like months. And I'm like, that's the smartest thing ever. I'm like, why do I not own my backyard in Philadelphia? And that took the same approach. And I was like, if people like, another guy told me one time, he said, I'm okay if people don't want to work with me because they don't like me or they don't like my work. He's like, I'm not okay with it if they don't know who I am. I was like, I like that. Like people know who you are. They know you do good work. I love that approach, especially kind of in your area, right? Own your backyard is one of my favorite things. So I have one more thing for you. This is non-business related.
Cool.
If you could do anything on earth and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would it be?
Oh, man. Fail.
So I saved it for last.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Just launch a bunch more businesses.
No, boo. That's not Brad. I mean, maybe it is Brad, but that's not the Brad I'm talking about. What does Brad really want to do? But maybe fear's holding him back of just some ridiculous physical feat or something. I don't know, solving world whatever. It doesn't have to be altruistic. I've gotten all sorts of answers.
Yeah,
I don't even give people examples. I just gave you help too. I never even give a lifeline. I just phoned a friend.
That's a really hard one for me because like my thought process doesn't really leave too far beyond like Seven Hills and additional ventures. And I can give a little bit of background to like justify that answer a little bit. Is that I find myself in a situation where I have 3 kids that have special needs, and so my like driving purpose is largely around being able to sustain not only myself but also potentially one or more of my children for the duration of their life. So I'm a very coin operated, if you will, or just money driven. And so like the idea of operating different ventures, so like it would be things like what we've talked about. And the reason that comes to mind is like my oldest is the most impacted by autism and is probably going to just being independent in life. But you know, he wants to do things. He wants to work. He wants to be independent. He's already fiercely independent to a difficult challenge sometimes. And like, I would launch the places that can employ him and give him a place to be. And that applies to all of them. So
that's a great answer. That's a great answer. All right. I will. I mean, you won me over. All right. I thought you were just going to be like, I want to be cool business guy. And
there's like some self-interest in there. There's some altruism in there.
You painted it with enough, care and altruism that it counts. That was good. I like that. All right, Brad, if people want to reach out to you directly about something they heard today, how do they reach out to Brad himself?
Brad at sevenhillstechnology.com, probably the easiest way. Right. I'm pretty findable on LinkedIn, despite my disdain for it. And there goes that personal branding, right?
Hey, we're gonna get you. We'll work on it. We'll get you there. All right, man. Brad, you're awesome. I'm glad we got to spend some time together. Genuinely a great dude, and I love like your passion for all the stuff you do. And thanks for being on. I'm gonna keep hanging out and bugging you and asking you AI stuff because you're my 3 in the group. Only people at 7 will know what that means, but I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I got my hats, my kids, the Durham Bulls gear. We're all good. So, Brad, appreciate you, brother. Be good, and talk to you soon. All right, thanks, Brad.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you.
See you, man. Later.